On this episode of Mythbusters, a television exclusive as Adam and Jamie sing for a world first.
I had a nightmare like this once.
Can the human voice really shatter glass? The build team go green. They're testing the proverb, a rolling stone gathers no moss.
That is beautiful.
It's the longest experiment in Mythbusters history. And sparks will fly in a DIY engineering special. Can the humble vacuum cleaner be transformed into a jet engine? Who are the Mythbusters? Adam Savage.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
And Jamie Hyneman.
I kind of like it in here, it's private.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
That was intense.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
Are you done yet?
I'm ready to stop anytime you want to start talking.
This is the classic story about the opera singer who's capable of breaking a wine glass using only her voice and achieving exactly the right tone.
So we've got an audio myth on our hands, and that means only one stop.
Our friends at Meyer Sound need to be called in to investigate.
I think they're almost honorary Mythbusters now. They've helped us on so many.
Roger Schwenke is Meyer's Mythbuster-in-Chief. He's already busted 2 urban legends. Duck quacks do echo. And thankfully, there's no such thing as the infamous brown note.
Everyone's got to try this.
Now, Meyer's mission is to find out whether sound waves can be strong enough to shatter crystal glass. Everyone's heard of this musical myth, but is it truly possible? Well, if anyone knows, it's Meyer's Sound.
So, Roger, have you heard the myth about the opera singer that's able to break a wine glass with her voice?
I've heard that myth, and
what do you think?
I'd like to think that it's true. I think it'd be really impressive if we could break a wine glass with sound, so I'm really eager to try it.
Eager to try breaking stuff? No wonder this guy's an honorary Mythbuster. And already he's got a glass-smashing plan that's all to do with resonance.
So first I want to bring a glass over and we'll measure it and see what its resonant frequency is. And then we'll play that frequency back through the speaker and see if we can break it.
So the theory is that the tone you hear, boom, when you hit it is the same tone that will potentially break it.
Correct.
Okay.
A crystal glass has a natural resonance. This is the frequency at which it most efficiently turns sound waves into physical movement. Play a glass its own resonant frequency, but loud, and it may move so much that it explodes.
Is this a good distance here?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
They're using lead crystal, as it's the most efficient at transforming sound into motion.
This lowest peak here is the fundamental frequency, and I'm reading off here 562 hertz, so that's where we should start.
With the computer primed to belt out a pure 562 hertz tone, it's myth-busting time.
So this is Mythbusters wine glass breaking test number 1. Simply playing a tone through the speaker to the glass. That's it.
I'm really sorry. I need to actually plug that speaker into something.
Oh, details, details.
Even the Meyer Mythbuster can make mistakes. Let's try that again. Nothing. But in opera, it's not over till the fat lady sings, and Rogers had a harmonious idea.
When you listen to the glass, it has many harmonics above the fundamental frequency. And so maybe it's not the fundamental that breaks it. Maybe we need to produce one of those harmonics.
Up to now, Roger's just been playing the fundamental frequency. But there are also many other equally spaced smaller peaks, the harmonics. So this time, the computer's set to blast out the full harmonic sound, an exact match of the glass. Adam also throws a straw into the mix to help see if the glass is moving at all. Adam's straw dances. This glass really is vibrating. Just check out the high speed. The glass is as wobbly as Jell-O, but not wobbly enough to implode. To the Mythbusters, it's just mystifying.
Well, so that could be myth busted right there.
I don't know that we've exhausted all the possibilities.
Yeah, there's something we're missing here because it's really aggressively moving that glass. The question is, why isn't it breaking the glass?
That is indeed the question. And while Adam and Jamie ponder the answer, the build team are cracking on with another myth. The Mythbusters build team are having a barrel of laughs. They're getting started on the longest experiment in Mythbusters history. They'll need their green fingers as they once again take on conventional wisdom.
Exciting.
Finding a needle in the haystack was actually pretty fun. What do you think? Should we do more proverbs and sayings like that?
Finding the needle in a haystack was fun? Jamie's forgotten that testing that proverb was one of the toughest myth-busting days ever, but it's clearly not put him off.
What about the one, a rolling stone gathers no moss?
Or does it?
You know, I honestly can say I've never thought about it, but that would be interesting to find out.
Should be possible to do.
All right, well, I want to get going on this one, because I want to bust this proverb wide open.
First stop for this myth is the moss store, also known as the forest.
Shh, be very quiet, we're hunting moss.
It seems like the build team have found their man, Brent Mishler, a moss professor.
Well, I'm into moss for various reasons, and I would be into them even if they weren't important in the ecosystem, but as it happens, they are.
This guy really is Dr. Moss.
So there's a lot of moss here. Can we just grab this and put it on a rock?
Well, probably this would not be the best choice because these are not the same species that grow on the rock here.
They're barking up the wrong tree with this moss. Our herb hunters need some rock moss, and they're leaving no stone unturned.
Seems pretty strong.
It doesn't break up in your hand? Yeah. Yeah, that would be a fine one to try.
So how do we get the moss going now? What do we do next?
I think we'll probably try buttermilk, maybe about equal parts of buttermilk and moss, and grind it up in a coffee grinder. Then you can kind of coat the rocks in it and coat the run in it.
Is Dr. Moss serious? Buttermilk and moss sounds more like a Californian protein shake. With moss collecting step 1 accomplished, step 2 means it's time to shop till you rock.
You've heard the people say a rolling stone gathers no moss.
Sure, sure.
Well, we're trying to prove that.
Great, well, how can I help you? We have a lot of rocks to select from.
Ain't that the truth? This place has more rocks than a Flintstones film. After much rocky reflection, the Rolling Stones are selected and chopped up into identical, easy-to-roll cylinders. Finally, Tori and Scotty can get some satisfaction. The build team are proverb busting as they test whether a rolling stone really gathers no moss. Their shopping list? Moss, check. Stones, check. Stage 3 means building the rolling device.
The tricky part is going to be, getting rocks to roll continuously for months. We're going to have to build some kind of rig that does that.
Yeah, you'll have to make something that also withstands the environment because obviously there has to be moisture and irrigation in there. Well, it'll be a nice, simple experiment. Something we'll set up, let it run, see what happens.
Simple sounds good. The plan is to build an irrigated barrel which will be split in two. The control half will be stationary, while the test half will turn. Within both halves, there'll be 3 rocks, each sitting in their own individual trackway. Will any gather moss?
Starting to take shape. This is one of the drums. This here is one of the tracks inside the drum, and this is where the rock is going to roll. This whole drum will be rolling. This will just stay at the bottom and just continue to roll and collect moss, hopefully.
While Tori tests the rolling rig, Carrie shapes up to shape the stones.
I'm roughing up this rock, so we have one smooth, one rough. The rock guy reckons you get more moss on a roughed up stone.
Sounds about right. A rough rock will have all sorts of nooks and crannies where moss could get a grip.
Hey, look what I got from Jamie.
As for the revolving rig, there's no need to reinvent the wheel because Jamie's come up trumps.
Hey, look at that.
That's as fast as it goes.
Which is more than ample for this myth.
I think this is going to be perfect. Look at how much torque this thing has.
At least enough to rotate these slackers.
All right, team. Let's go to work.
While Scotty creates a stand for the spinning barrel, Carrie keeps roughing up those rocks. And Tori adds some matting to keep the rolling tracks moist for the moss. Everything's coming together. Lock, stock, and barrel. Time to put it to the test.
This is beautiful. It's like watching paint dry.
It's way more exciting now.
Yeah, it's a little bit more exciting than watching paint dry. Uh-oh, we got a sticker. Uh-oh. That was close. We almost had a situation there. Hey, what's up, buddy?
That is beautiful. Look at that. What if it turns out that all your stones gather some fungi or moss? Are you going to look towards a material that definitely does not gather moss when it rolls? Something naturally occurring that would never gather moss.
Can we cross that bridge when we get to it? Because I really don't think we're going to get any moss on these.
If there's one thing I've learned so far, it's that nothing I think ever has any bearing on the results. Well, guys, it looks really good. Have some fun rolling all those stones.
At last, the build team put the final touches to the rolling rig. All that remains is to coat the stones in the buttermilk and moss batter. But are they doing it right?
Smells terrible.
Oh, yeah. Who wants to taste it? Sorry.
And how ground up is it? Not at all. It's just a soggy mess of moss. Tori opts for a more unusual kitchen tool, the hammer drill.
Bringing out the heavy.
If it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
Even with the super stirrer, the moss stays together. This is not what the moss man instructed. He wanted it chopped fine.
It's good enough.
Equal parts of buttermilk and moss and grind it up in a coffee grinder.
A hammer drill is no coffee grinder, but the team seems satisfied and begin the stone smearing, or inoculation to a scientist.
Our rocks are well gooed and we're putting them into the rig now.
The team put a roughed up rock, a smooth rock, and a mossy rock from the forest in both the stationary control side and the revolving test side of the rig.
All right, so now we wait.
Now we wait.
Exciting.
Adam and Jamie are attempting to bust a myth of operatic proportions. They're trying to learn if a singer can shatter a wine glass with just their voice.
You know, the interesting thing about this myth is while tons of people have claimed to be able to break glass with their voice, our researchers have yet to come up with a single confirmed case of it?
Yeah, well, the first one I know of was the famous opera singer Caruso, who claimed to have done it, but then after he died, his wife said he actually didn't.
Yeah, and the famous advertisement for Memorex, where Ella Fitzgerald's voice shatters the glass.
Believe it. Ella Fitzgerald on Memorex cassette tape with MRX2 oxide. Can Memorex shatter the glass?
Well, that seemed to work. But they did use amplification.
If we get a singer breaking glass unassisted, I believe it's the very first time it's been confirmed on camera. A Mythbuster exclusive.
Seems Adam's forgetting that so far they've broken nothing. But Myers Sound may just have unlocked the glass-breaking secret. And the key, a board with a 2-inch hole through it. But how's that going to help?
It's going to change the directionality. It's going to change the distribution of pressure in the near field. So it's going to cause an awful lot of different acoustical phenomenon.
Roger's confident that this holy board is going to do the trick.
Okay, everyone ready?
Ready when you are.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, that's kind of effective.
They've cracked it. The 2-inch hole does the job and proves that sound can break glass. Next, they need to find a singer brave enough to try.
It's so endlessly entertaining. I'd pay to see this.
The Mythbusters are testing whether the human voice can break glass. And for Adam and Jamie, next stop, it's song school.
We're here in the Castro district of San Francisco, and we're about to test whether we can break a wine glass using a human voice.
This myth needs vocal power, but forget opera singers, Adam and Jamie have gone for full power. The power of rock singer Jamie Vendera.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Jamie.
Jamie, Adam.
Adam.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
So, Jamie, have you heard the story that it's possible to break a wine glass with a human voice?
Actually, I have. One of my vocal teachers, a man named Jim Gillette from a band called Nitro, has done it for years back in the 80s, so I know it can be done.
Nitro claimed to be the fastest, loudest, and highest sound of the late 80s. And who would disagree? Jamie Vendera reckons that Nitro used to break glasses through amplification before every concert. Before anyone tries to sing unassisted, it's time to put Nitro and Ella Fitzgerald to the test. Can singing through speakers break glass?
I've got to protect the mighty Wurlitzer. The Wurlitzer here is one of the most famous features of the Castro Theater, and the guy that plays it, I think it would be bad if he got glass shards in the tips of his fingers.
As the curtain call draws nearer, Jamie Vendera concentrates on finding the perfect glass.
Some of these are a little more dead than the others. If you flick it, now hear how that rings.
I mean, it sounds almost like the ring has a kind of curve to it.
Exactly, and that's what you're looking for.
Just like at Myers Sound, there'll be the speaker, the mysterious board with hole, and then the glass. It's time for our heavy metal maestro to step up to the mic.
Can you hear that okay, Jamie?
Bingo.
Is it supposed to be that easy?
So the practiced professional can use amplification to break glass. But how about an amateur voice? Like, say, Adam and Jamie's?
I can't wait to try it.
But before they let rip, the build team are plotting a DIY disaster. The trustworthy vacuum cleaner. Every home should have one, right?
You want to see if you can get a fire going here?
Well, maybe not. After all, this myth is about the guy whose vac turned into a jet engine. and the build team are going to put this to the test.
The guy was cleaning his pool and he heard a huge explosion. So he went to his neighbor's house to find out what had happened, and it turned out that this guy was using a shop vac to try to get the sediment off the bottom of a gas tank from his boat. And when it started to fume, it went through the shop vac and basically turned it into a turbine engine.
So what's your plan?
Scotty and I are going to go get a shop vac, and we're going to try to suck up some gasoline and see what happens.
We're going to go clean the pool, and if we hear any big explosions, we'll come running.
Can a vacuum cleaner really transform into a jet engine? The girls have all they need to test this dangerous myth. 1 tank of gas and 1 shop vac.
For our first experiment, we have our shop vac hooked up to our gas can, and the gas can just has a tiny bit of gas in there, so we're just going to get fumes with this first one.
But it's the fumes that are the most flammable part.
So let's give this a really running go. Let's give it a good 5 minutes before we shut it off.
All right. And if it doesn't go in 5 minutes, it ain't gonna go.
3, 2, 1.
As Scotty said, if it doesn't go in 5 minutes, it ain't gonna go. This myth may not last much longer.
Oh, there must be something to this myth, because the warning label, to avoid personal injury or property damage, do not pick up flammable, combustible, or hot materials. There's got to be some truth to this. It's got to blow up somewhere.
You'd think so, but right now it just ain't sparking. If it's going to mutate into a jet engine, it'll need some encouragement.
I haven't actually taken a vacuum cleaner apart before, but this one, the motor where the brushes would be, is isolated from the tank and from any kind of air fumes that would be inside the tank.
So any sparking will happen in a place where the fumes can't get to. Scotty reckons that all new vacs have this safety feature. Maybe it's only older models that are likely to explode.
I guess we can wrap this one up because it's pretty much busted as far as the new vacuums go.
Highly unlikely anyway. What the hell was that?
That was sparks! What was it doing?
Oh. Chop through the wires.
Well, maybe that's how it
That'll do it every time.
This could be just one of those Mythbusters Eureka moments.
Scotty, I think that was a happy mistake. I think we can actually throw a little likely into our unlikely scenario. What if the vacuum cleaner was shorting out?
It's a possibility. It would definitely make sparks.
But even with the horrible home wiring job, the fumes still won't be able to get to where the sparks are.
I want to bang. Let's make the optimal, most beautiful conditions for this thing to blow up.
That means drilling a hole that will allow the fumes to get to the spark. If Scotty's right that the shop vac design has changed, then this still is testing our myth.
All right.
This time, the build team have gone all out for an explosion. Gas directly in the vac, a homemade short circuit, and some air vents leading to the sparks. This goes against all health and safety rules, but these guys are trained professionals. Don't try this one at home.
3, 2, 1.
Despite their best efforts, a jet engine this isn't. For a confused and disconsolate Scotty, it's back to the drawing board.
Scotty and I tried everything with the shop vac to try to make a turbine engine, and what we've basically figured out is that the airflow is completely isolated from the motor.
On purpose, I would imagine. Is that it? Is it busted?
Well, we're not sure yet. We're gonna see if the design in the motors have changed. So I'm probably gonna go visit your nemesis down at the vacuum shop.
My guideline when you're there is just keep your lips away from the spinning things.
Once bitten, twice shy. Rarely is that proverb used in the context of vacuum cleaners.
How you doing? Are you Peter?
Yes, I am.
I'm Tori.
Tori, glad to meet you.
Good to meet you. Adam said that you took care of him, and maybe you can help me out.
Well, if it's to do with vacuum cleaners, I probably could help you out here.
Well, we're trying to do, I don't know if you've ever heard of the myth, the exploding vacuum cleaner, where somebody was actually vacuuming up gasoline, and a spark from the motor caused the whole vacuum cleaner to explode, and he went rocketing around the shop.
Oh yeah, if you got vapors, you got spark, you got a fire going.
Excellent.
You want to see if you can get a fire going here?
What, right here in the store?
Jeez. Wait, you got a fire extinguisher in case?
I got fire extinguisher all over the store.
Okay. Need some help?
Well, a little bit more spark. There we go.
Shop vac plus fumes can equal fire. This myth ain't busted yet.
That's what I was saying. You get those fumes going and a little spark, you get something burning.
Armed with the knowledge that vacuum cleaners can burst into flame, Tori next needs to turn one into a jet engine.
You guys have a good day.
Flaming vacuum cleaners. Tori's testing the myth that the everyday vac can mutate into a jet engine.
You got some good fire.
So Tori, you got any results yet on this one?
Well, what we were trying to do is to see if an older version of a vacuum motor would ignite gasoline. And the guy at the shop pretty much demonstrated that in an extreme way. So we've proven that it can light the gasoline, but in no way was it a jet engine.
Well, you know what that means.
I think I do.
This being Mythbusters, we have to see if there's any way that we can actually create a jet engine out of vacuum cleaner parts.
You must have read my resume. I'm the man for your job.
The build team recreated the circumstances of this myth and got nowhere. So now Tori needs to replicate its results. Hardcore thrust. The engine sucks air in at the front with a fan, in this case, the vac motor. This air is compressed, then mixed with fuel and lit. The burning gases blast out backwards and cause thrust. But for this project, vac parts alone aren't quite enough. While an injured Carrie limbers up, Tori's been shopping for jet engine parts in, of all places, the restaurant district.
I found this. This could be, this is going to be for the flame holder here.
That is perfect.
In the combustion area. I got this portable stove, and what I'll do is I'll use the propane ring for the combustion area. There's also an electric igniter in here, so that might work well too. This is exactly what they have at NASA.
Of course, NASA used theirs to build rockets, while Tori's got to build a jet engine. It's going to be one small step for him, and probably an even smaller step for mankind.
Look what I found. This is my engine. This is my jet engine.
The final ingredients ready. It's time to get this thing cooking.
Flame catcher.
The vacuum cleaner and household parts are clicking into place. That just leaves the fuel injection system.
That's a jet engine.
Not really.
Tori's worried that the vacuum fan will simply snuff out the flame.
I'm gonna hook up this motor, see how much wind gets blown through the tube, and see if that's enough to blow it out.
With the vacuum off and the gas running, let's light that fire, Mythbusters style. Whoa. We have ignition. So on with the vac.
And it's out.
Tori's fears are confirmed. The vac blows out the flame.
So that is not going to work. Plan B.
Do you have a plan B?
Absolutely not.
Don't be modest. All good Mythbusters have a plan B. And in this case, it's build your own propane stove. Build it bigger and better, or at least try.
I don't know, there's gonna be a lot of engineers out there looking at me going, what the hell is he doing? And I'm asking myself that on a moment-by-moment basis, what the hell am I doing?
great balls of fire. Could this just be enough to turn a shop vac into a jet engine? In the myth, Can a Singer Break Glass?, the Mythbusters are about to see if even their amateur voices can blast through speakers and smash crystal. Before they break out in song, first they need some training.
I can't do it while I'm smiling.
And believe it or not, this is lesson number 1, lip bubbles.
Just do that.
Like that?
Yeah, several times.
Come on, Jimmy.
I don't know that I can do that at all.
You can't make lip bubbles with a stash?
Fortunately for Jamie, there's another technique.
Make a smiley face and you go. So it's like falsetto and you start real low and you get louder and louder on the same pitch. Real soft and real like a woman, you know, real like. You want to try a glass?
I'm dying to try a glass.
All right.
Well, I want to see Jamie do it first. Everyone quiet for a second while I give Jamie the tone. This is Jamie Hyneman. You know he has perfect pitch.
And he's going to need it to break this glass.
I had a nightmare like this once.
Well, I'm moving the straw around pretty good.
Sure enough, the straw is dancing, but no shards fly. Maybe the teacher's got some top tips.
Jamie, what am I doing wrong?
You've got to shave your mustache. When you see that straw shaking, stop it. It ain't like jumping from a C to a C sharp like normal people do. You got to slide slowly up or slowly down. Okay. And you're just a hair away from it going.
If at first you don't succeed, try again. Although please, not too many times.
Releasing the awesome power of the Hyneman.
Well, you try.
Okay.
It seems that Jamie's got the power, but not the pitch. He's an octave too low.
Will you go tap the glass for me?
Okay.
Maybe Adam will be on song.
Will you tap the glass for me?
Adam is also just too deep for this crystal.
No, I don't think I have the tone right.
There you go.
All right.
Push down with your stomach, breathe in with your belly.
Tighten the sphincter.
It started to jump right there just now.
All right, there we go. I did it! Wow.
Well, there you go.
That was great.
You have graduated. You are now a full vocalist.
Oh, that's incredible!
Through amplification, Adam has proved that even an untrained voice can sing the correct tone to break glass.
Remember, kids, no experiment is valid unless it's repeatable, so I'm going to try this again.
All in the name of science, of course.
I'm trying the master's techniques.
Another success. Now to prepare for that global exclusive, unamplified glass breaking. The build team have rolled back to the Stone Age to see if a rolling stone gathers no moss. Their circular rig has been turning for 4 weeks to test this traditional proverb. But what does it actually mean? Let's check the word on the street.
A rolling stone gathers no moss. I think that means that if you keep on going, you don't collect a lot of junk.
I guess it would depend. It's kind of like a coffee table on wheels gathers no dust.
As long as you keep moving around, you don't have to worry about getting tied down, committed, obligated. If you keep on the move, you don't get slimy and unattractive. If you're asking if I think that moss would grow on a stone that is continually moving, I don't think so.
Don't think so, huh? Well, after 4 weeks, let's check on the progress.
It looks almost like in these little cracks. Could that be growing? You know what? It's somewhat stuck there. That could be growing.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Couldn't this be gathered moss?
Well, then that's where you have to ask the question, what is gathering mean? Does it just stick to it, or does it actually grow on it?
Tori philosophizing again. Up to now, the test has inferred that to gather moss means to grow it. But what if it means just to snag some? That needs a whole new test. Something like rolling a stone down a mossy hill.
After we roll our stones down a little mossy patch, we've got a little magnifying glass, and we're gonna search the rocks to see if we can find any little traces of moss left in our stone, because the tiniest little trace will prove or disprove this proverb.
That's the plan, to make a mountain out of a moss hill.
Nice form there.
Carrie's rolling down both the smooth rocks and the ones she's roughened up to see if any will collect some moss on their short, mossy migration.
I think we're getting better.
And the results?
There's definitely some moss on this one. It ain't much, but it's definitely moss. I have a feeling that if this rock stayed stationary and didn't roll again, that the moss could probably grow, because it grows so wild out here.
To gather or to grow? That is the question. Tumble a rock over moss, and it sure picks some up. But will a rolling rock grow moss? Back to the workshop, where not everything is rolling smoothly.
Well, we've been rolling our stones for 6 weeks now. What do we got?
Well, remember when you said it was going to be a simple experiment?
Yes, I do.
Surprisingly enough, we messed it up.
What'd you do?
Well, supposedly the moss expert seems to think that we didn't chop the moss up fine enough.
The stationary rocks are control nothing. We have not grown any moss whatsoever.
But we do have a rock that already had moss growing on it, and that moss is growing great. So at least we've proven that we have a moss-friendly environment.
I thought this was going to be an easy, simple experiment, and you screwed it up. Well, let's go out and get some fresh moss and chop it up properly this time. Let's get this going. I don't want to lose any more sleep over this, so do it right.
6 weeks wasted by poor moss mangling. This time, the fresh moss is minced in a blender. Much better than Tori's hammer drill. This moss milkshake is much more like a smoothie. The batter is painted on the rolling rocks, the control rocks, and on the lanes.
So let's just do...
Everything's back on track, and the stones start their pilgrimage once again.
Now, we sit and wait for a long, long, long time.
In fact, the Mythbusters wait for over 6 months. The rolling rig spins right through the spring. It's still wheeling during the height of summer, and as the nights lengthen and the autumn chill returns, the stones are still rolling along. It's the longest experiment in Mythbusters history.
We've been working on the story for a little over 6 months, and we finally, possibly, I think we have some tiny little results that can answer the question, will a rolling stone gather moss?
Okay, guys, well, you broke this down into 2 separate stories, and the first one is, will a rolling stone actually gather or collect moss? You guys went out to a hill and rolled a rock down the hill. What are the results?
Well, actually, the rolling stone did gather moss.
The second part that these guys tested was, will it actually grow moss? Will a rolling stone that has gathered some moss actually allow the moss to grow?
Time to unload both barrels and collect some results. Starting with the rocks that didn't move an inch.
Oh, that's actually growing pretty well.
Wow.
Yeah.
All stationary rocks grow moss.
So the rig was at least a moss-friendly barrel. But of course, the myth is about the rolling stones.
Very gentle.
This one's been rolling for 6 months, over 100 miles. It's a long hill. Do you see any moss?
Not so far. Can I hold it?
I don't see any.
And it's the same for all 3 rolling rocks. Not a trace of moss.
So, you guys, what do we tell the viewers? I mean, is this proverb something that we can still use in the modern world?
For me, there's no question about it that the spirit of this myth is involving growing of moss. It's not like, yeah, okay, so you can roll a stone down a hill and there can be little bits of moss that get stuck to it for an instant until they fall off. That's not what the myth is about.
I totally agree, and so I would say this proverb gets the Mythbusters seal of approval. A rolling stone does not gather any moss.
That's the spirit.
Yes.
So it's confirmed. Okay.
The cherished vacuum cleaner, loved and loathed by housewives and husbands for almost 100 years. But can this household chore turn into something altogether more explosive? Can a vacuum cleaner be turned into a jet engine?
You know, like all great myths, this one has an element of truth.
Well, our research has actually turned up at least 3 cases that might have been its inspiration. I've got one from 1992, a guy trying to clean up a swimming pool, water acetone mixed with a shop vac, got an explosion, and he suffered burns on 70% of his body.
And then in '93, there was a guy cleaning a propane tank on a train, and he set it off. He died. So what do you think? The myth that big bad things are going to happen if you use shop vac around explosive fuels?
Yeah, we'll file it under operator error.
Let's hope that they've told this to our resident pyromaniac. Tori's been on a mission to build a jet engine out of vac parts and household items. With the fuel injection sorted and a cone in place to accelerate the burning gases, it's almost time for liftoff.
Okay, it's ready to go. I have it all sealed up. I'm a little nervous. I think it might explode, but that's kind of cool too, right? All right, all I have to do next is hang it, and we'll fill it with gas and then ignite it. Look at that. Okay, this is good.
For once, the term not exactly rocket science couldn't be more wrong.
I'm gonna go fill the engine with gas and then let's light this puppy.
T-minus 10 seconds.
Gas is on?
Which one's the igniter? This one. Okay.
Houston, we have a problem.
No, see, it's not lighting. I'm gonna pull the igniter out of the center and just stick it at the back exhaust so it'll just ignite from there.
With the igniter directly in the gas stream, it's back to mission control.
Here we go, and ignition.
Uh-oh.
Why is it we always have this problem?
It's sparking, but not igniting the gas.
I'm gonna light it, we'll stick it on the C-stand, I'll ignite it, and just we'll have an open flame at the end of the exhaust because I don't know why it's not working now.
Okay.
Now that's got to work.
Here we go, gas on. All right, here we go.
It's moving, and it's on fire.
Well, it didn't really jet across the room.
Well, it was chained to the ceiling. The high speed shows that the flame igniter did the trick. Finally, the gas is lit. But this isn't just a burning fireball. Watch what happens when Tori switches on the vac. Now, just for a second, there's a hint of thrust. No mission to Mars, but not bad for this rocket intern.
Well, that was a cool flamethrower, not much of a jet engine.
Yeah, and the whole concept of a vacuum cleaner being a jet engine is all wrong. It goes against the principles that make jet engines. Vacuum cleaners create vacuums. That's low pressure. A jet engine works by creating more pressure, which completes the combustion. So it's just not practical.
So shop vac jet engine, totally busted?
Totally.
Good. Well, I feel better now.
Nice try, though.
Thanks.
Breaking a glass through amplification is simple. Now for the real test, as voice coach Vendera prepares to rock on for a world first. Could he become the first person in history to break a glass using his voice alone?
110%. I know I can do it. I don't have any doubt.
I mean, if we get this, this is like, that's huge. No one's ever caught this sort of thing on videotape before. No one has a confirmed report. And if our researchers can't find it, I mean, nobody can. Oh, I'm so psyched about this, I can't even tell you.
Time to go myth-busting and maybe make some history. Good job they stocked up on crystal. "12 glasses later, still no joy. Despite Jamie's confidence, it's beginning to look like this myth may just be busted. Vendera's got the tone, but not the power. The straw's jumping, but the glass is rock solid.
Well, Jimmy Vendera's going to take a little break, so I'm going to continue the ongoing process of making a fool out of myself and try it myself.
Let's not forget that Adam did break 2 with the amplifier.
I did it!
But this is a much tougher task.
Like, the best case scenario is that glass shatters in my face. How do you think that makes me feel?
Not sure he's got too much to worry about there.
I don't know if I can do it. Not surprisingly, I don't think I can do it.
Show's over for Adam, but Jamie Vendera's back for his encore.
Jamie, man, dude! That is a first on television.
A Mythbusters exclusive. 556 hertz, 105 decibels, and 20 attempts makes for a world first. History's been made, and it's been captured on high speed, so there's really no need to try this one at home.
Well, that's it. We proved that there is a tone that you can use to match the resonant frequency of glass in order to shatter it. And most importantly of all, we proved for the first time that an unassisted human voice can actually generate that tone and shatter a glass. I'm amazed by that. You ready?
Well, that's another one busted, right?
No, it's not busted, it's confirmed, but we can still smash these.
Okay.
I win.